Hey, good day to you all. This is my first video about Shakespeare's sonnets. In addition to the plays we're familiar with, like Hamlet, Macbeth, King Lear, Shakespeare also wrote 154 sonnets. Sonnets, Shakespeare's sonnets, they're 14-line poems with like a regular rhyme scheme and meter. They're great works in their own right, but possibly also the sonnets contain clues to Shakespeare's true identity, but I'll get to that in a later video. Here I want to talk about Sonnet 66. This is my favorite sonnet. It's a bit of an outlier in the sonnets. The sonnets are usually love poems. This one deals with love a little bit, as you'll see, but much of the time it's complaining about the world. But I like it because what Shakespeare's complaining about are just problems I'm utterly familiar with. And that's really remarkable to me. All right, let's get going. First line. Tired with all these for restful death I cry. So he's saying, I'm about to give a list of things, and these are the things that really shit me. I want to die because of them. Okay, it's a little dramatic, but, you know, I'm sure all of us know the sentiments, certainly in our darker moments. First one. As to behold desert, a beggar born. Desert is someone who's deserving. So he's basically saying, I hate seeing when someone who is deserving is born a beggar without opportunity. It's the same issues we deal with today. And, you know, marks Shakespeare as being, somewhat progressive. Third line is kind of like the inverse of it. And needy nothing trimm'd in jollity. A needy nothing is an inconsequential person. And being trimmed in jollity means wearing fancy clothes. So yeah, like an inconsequential person who's, rich, whatever. So interesting, familiar sentiments. And purest faith, unhappily forsworn. This is always a tragedy when someone is faithful, not just necessarily in a religious sense, but when someone really believes in something, is really into a cause, or even pursues some activity. I'm just thinking of like skateboarding or something because my kid skateboards. And so when someone's really into something and then they give it up, unhappily forsworn. It's tragedy. And gilded honour, shamefully misplaced. So similar kind of idea when someone's honourable, when they have honour, and then they give up on it. We all know examples of that. And then the line which is most striking for me really in the sonnet. And maiden virtue rudely strumpeted. It's not the kind of thing that you can exactly say in polite society, but God, I could write a book about it. But yeah, the idea of a virtuous woman who gives up on her virtue certainly makes me think about our glorious post-sexual revolution society where we've attempted to sever morality from sexuality. It always sticks in my mind. I always think, we might be done with morality, but is morality done with us? But yeah, that's for another discussion. Next line, and right perfection wrongfully disgraced. I should also say this is a really striking poem because like the middle 10 lines all start with and. The first time I saw it, that's obviously what jumped out at me. But yeah, right perfection, wrongfully disgraced. This is about merit. This is one of the big issues today. The attack on merit, which people often bring up in relation to DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. But yeah, when you have someone who's actually good at something and actually capable, and it doesn't seem to matter, they're disgraced. Yes, that's a perennial problem as well. And strength by limping, sway, disabled. Same kind of point. Strength, someone who's capable, by limping, sway, disabled. Strength being disabled by someone who is weak. Reminds me of Nietzsche's concept of slave morality, which is particularly powerful. Uh, Again, I'll talk about it some other time, but yeah, Google it. And now the best line, really. The best line. And art made tongue-tied by authority. This is just so great. I mean, Shakespeare is like a giant. I know. Even in his own day, he was aware of how good he was. I mean, that's revealed in the sonnets themselves. He kind of knew that what he was writing would probably have a timeless quality to it. So despite being unbelievably good, he's still aware of this crazy phenomenon where you know, art, which we could think maybe is like stands for the true, the good, the beautiful. Art, the artist, made tongue-tied by authority. When that kind of person comes up against power, they hold their tongue. I mean, this is just remarkable. I mean, we're I don't know, 10 years into cancel culture. Part of the issue of cancel culture is, of course, getting cancelled, when the mob comes for you or you lose your job. But the real issue is when all of us hold our tongues, when we actually have something to say. I mean, it's pretty staggering. It was the same problem. And art made tongue-tied by authority carries on in a similar vein. And folly, doctor-like, controlling skill. This is an amazing line. Folly, someone who's in error, doctor-like, controlling skill. Doctor-like is an amazing phrase. It conjures up the twisted bureaucrat, or the the cool narcissist playing mind games, controlling, manipulating in a really precise way. Anyone who's had experience with bureaucracies or mind games will know exactly what I'm talking about. And simple truth miscalled simplicity. Another fine line. Simple truth miscalled simplicity. Often within the university, I hear common sense criticized. The idea is that common sense is actually the bearer of the dominant ideology of the day. So if you call something common sense, you're part of the problem. But the response so often is, surely this is obviously true. Like the evidence is overwhelming. We all know it. But yeah, you can't you can't say that. You can't think that. You have to have strange, bizarre, inhuman arguments and twisted, convoluted sentences, that sort of thing. So yeah, Shakespeare was onto it. Simple truth miscalled simplicity. And captive good attending captain ill. Captive good. The good is captured and serving evil, ill. So it's a mixture of people. I mean, this poem was talking about a mixture of people who were good, were virtuous, were honourable, giving up on that, selling out. And then it's also about the people who actually are virtuous, good, capable, skilled, competent, being undermined by those who aren't. So yeah, two sides of the same kind of problem. And then the last two lines of the poem. Tied with all these, from these would I be gone, save that to die, I leave my love alone. It becomes a love poem in the end. What's the only thing that redeems life, that makes it worth living in the face of people selling out in the face of corruption, human connection, love. Now for the poem in its entirety. Tied with all these, for restful death I cry, as to behold desert, a beggar born, and needy nothing trimm'd in jollity, and purest faith unhappily forsworn, and gilded honour shamefully misplaced, and maiden virtue rudely strumpeted, and right perfection wrongfully disgraced, and strength by limping sway disabled, and art made tongue-tied by authority, and folly doctor-like controlling skill, and simple truth miscalled simplicity, and captive good attending captain ill. Tied with all these, from these would I be gone, save that to die I leave my love alone.